So once again, how's everyone doing this afternoon? Pretty good? Good. So guys, welcome to Nymphalook National Boat Rides. So we're going to cruise up to the top of the first gorge. Then we get into the second gorge, jump onto another boat, go for a look around up there, and then come back the exact same way. So we should be back here by about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Now there are a couple of safety things that we have to go through. So these boats that we're on, they're actually considered to be unsinkable, but I'm pretty sure that we've all heard that one before. Now there's also plenty of cold drinking water up the back here if you're feeling thirsty. So fill up your drink bottles. If you don't have one, there are cups up here that you can use. And if you overdo it on the water, all the boats have marine toilets up the back on the left. So these are what we recognise as the entrance to the gorge system, as well as the Arnhem Land Plateau. Now the Arnhem Land Plateau is basically just a big block of sandstone. It stretches all the way from here up to the Kakadu. So if you find this, now we are heading upstream at the moment. We're heading up towards our catchment area, which is in the southeastern tip of the Arnhem Land Plateau. And the catchment's around 9,500 square kilometres, and it is a dry catchment. So there's no springs or anything up there, it's all completely free. To give you an idea of the surface of the water, so that is the average wet season low Anson Bay. Anson Bay is about 120 kilometres southwest of Darwin. So if you have a look at this river system on a map, it does a big sort of U shape around Darwin, starting off in the east and then finishing off to the west. Australia up into the top end. So he was a Scottish explorer. He came up here around 1862. He was coming up here to see if he could find a route for the overland telegraph track. And being an explorer, he didn't really have a whole lot of money, so he had to find a sponsor for his expedition. He found a bloke by the name of James Chambers. So James Chambers, he was a wealthy businessman from Adelaide. The thing though that John didn't realise when he was naming these places is that this place already had one, as did a lot of places around Australia before white settlements. So this place was named by the Jarwin. The Jarwin people are the indigenous clan that have been living here for thousands of years. They've been around here for over 40,000 years. And their name for this place is Nymphalook. And just quickly, the word Nymphalook, it sounds like one word, it also looks like one word, but it is two different Jarwin words put together. So the first part of the word Nymni means cicada. The second part of the word look, which is spelled L-U-K, but it is pronounced look, that means place or country. They did also name the river that we're on. As I said, the Jarwin people have been living here for many, many years, although they did get pushed off their land around 1883, so about 20 years after John McDowell Stewart arrived up here. And that was a result of John McDowell Stewart commenting very favourably on the pastoral lands around the top end and the potential to run livestock. They do belong to this land. So they got their land handed back to them in 1989, which is a pretty special year out here. And it is actually the 30th anniversary for that hand back this year, so there's going to be a big day out here to celebrate that a little bit later on in the year. And just coming up here on the right hand side, botanical name for them Syzygium forte, and the Jarwin name is Belvorn. They have a little fruit that grows on them. It's about the size and shape of a golf ball, and hence the name chalky apple. One go, they end up with the runs pretty badly. They've got to take it easy. So these are freshwater pandanus, or Pandanus aquaticus. The Jarwin call them waran, which translates to fire stick. So being nomadic people, make their rafts. But on the leaves on the tree, they do have a pretty pungent oil in them, so they'll use them to make a mosquito repellent. And what they'll do is just get a handful of leaves, crush them up, mix them with a bit of water, and rub that onto their skin, and it lasts for a couple of hours. And in fact, if you look at a lot of the bug repellents that you can buy, they do contain melaleuca oil. Now also they can use those leaves as an antiseptic. They'll make a paste out of the leaves and place it onto any cuts or abrasions they have. So it's got many different uses, the silverleaf paperbark. It's pretty handy. Now in the river there's about 45 different species of fish to hunt. To name a few, there's barramundi in here, there's also catfish, there's long tom, carp and bream. Then there's also 3 different types of turtle, including the endangered pig-nosed turtle. You'll also find cherubim in here too, which are a bit like a big freshwater prawn. But plenty of food around, plenty of fresh drinking water. You can start to see how they're going and look at this place now. A lot of us will look at it and see a beautiful landscape and some nice trees about the place, and they'll look at it and see a beautiful supermarket. Now with the crocodiles that are in here, we do actually get both different types in here. So we've already seen the freshwater croc, and we also get the saltwater croc in here too. But during the wet seasons when the salties come in here, and most of the salties that come up here, they will turn around and make their own way back downstream. And that's because this habitat doesn't really suit them very well. The saltwater crocodiles nest in the wet season, and if they were to make their nests on the edge of the river here, they'd get wiped out within a matter of days because the water level fluctuates so much. Every now and then though, we do get a couple of salties that hang around here for a bit too long, and the National Parks Rangers have to make sure there's none left in here before we let people swim. Makes sense really. So what they do is about 6 weeks of crocodile surveys. There's a few different techniques they have. One of them is to put crocodile indicators in the water, and you'll see one of these here on your left hand side, and they will leave these in here throughout the dry season just as a precaution. So that little red buoy there is just a styrofoam buoy, but saltwater crocs, being really inquisitive animals, 9 times out of 10 they'll go and have a chew on one of them to see if it's edible, and they'll leave their teeth marks in the buoy. So the rangers check them every day, and it gives them a good indication as to whether there's a salty around. The freshwater crocs generally leave them alone because they are a bit too big for them, but also they're just not too bothered by something floating on top of the water. A couple of other techniques the rangers have of determining whether there's salties in here is to do low-level helicopter flights along the river, and they can actually identify crocodiles that are underneath the water judging by the shape of their head. They also do day and night croc spots in a boat, and they set crocodile traps. Pretty much once they've finished all their surveys and they're 99% sure there's no salties in here, that's when this place is opened up for swimming and canoeing. We only opened up about 3 weeks ago for swimming and canoeing, but I'll probably give it another 2 or 3 weeks just to make sure. I'll wait for a few thousand backpackers to go through first and check out the waters. Now the reason why they can be sure that there's no salties to come in here during the dry season is because we do have a bunch of rock bars throughout the gorge system. Those rock bars become exposed in the dry season, and they kind of act like dam walls, so they pretty much prevent anything from exiting or entering the gorge through the dry, including the salties. Now with the freshwater crocs, there's 2 reasons why they're left in here. One reason being that they are safe to swim with, like I said. They don't really pose much of a threat to us. But really the main reason being that this is their natural habitat. So you'll notice this beach here on your right, you see the signs on it, you might be able to read. From here it says crocodile nesting area, do not enter. So they're put there to do this walk over to the second gorge, and now's a pretty good time. we're just about to come into a mooring point, so I'll let you know a bit more about the walk that we're about to do. So it is 600 metres. The same way we go there is the same way that we come back a bit later on. All you have to do is follow the footpath, keep the river on your right hand side, you won't get lost, and I'll meet you at the boats on the other side there. And if you do happen to beat me there, just wait until I get there before you jump on the boat. Where many rivers meet the sea. What that river delta did was it compacted the riverbed beneath it, just opened up. I'll see a fair bit of that around the place. All the reds and the oranges are from oxidisation. Even though it's a very hard sandstone, it's the front right hand side of the boat on the rock. see this same crocodile sitting in the same spot, front left hand side of the boat. Front right of the boat, so there's a couple of rocks with a small tree growing out of the rock. The crocodile just there next to the tree. As you can see, very graceful entry into the water. Spotted another little baby one towards the back of the boat. As we come around the corner here, if we look right up the top of the cliff, on the cliff face there, you'll see there's a man-made lookout up there. And see if you can imagine that lookout sitting on the snout of a large crocodile's head. So that is the shortest walk that we have here in the park. It's called the Barraway Lookout. It'll take you about 20 minutes to get up there from the boat jetty. You just follow the riverbank along until you see a set of stairs up on your right, and follow that up to the top. There are quite a few stairs involved, so take plenty of water with you. It's a pretty good spot to watch the sunset if you're hanging around this afternoon. If you do go up there and you have a bit more energy to burn, you can continue following the track along the top of the escarpment where you get a really nice view as well. And you'll end up back in the visitor centre, so that's called the Burraway Loop Walk. That should take you about an hour, maybe just over an hour at a steady pace. Now, there is another pretty popular walk here in the park. It's called the Jack Lawler Trail. So it starts on the right hand side of the river. You'll see a clearing coming up in a second. That's where we drop people off and they walk over to Edith's Falls. Pretty good spot for a swim there. There's a waterfall there all here. And there's a couple of really nice watering holes and things to stop at along the way. You do have to make sure you're pretty well prepared for that walk though, because it takes most people around 4 to 6 days to do it. So it's about 66 kilometres long. You'll notice a little creek coming up here on your right. This is called 17 Mile Creek, and it does run through 17 Mile Valley. And that's because it's 17 miles upstream from the original settlement of Katherine, which is Knott's Crossing. But this little creek can give us some pretty big river rises. So in 2011 it received about 500 mil of rain overnight. The water came through the creek into the main river and gave us a 6 metre river rise in less than 12 hours. So the water went from about the level it is now up to the base of the shed behind the bush over there on the left. So if you keep an eye out on the front right of the boat on all these dead logs here, I did just see one crocodile jump off into the water, but there might be a couple more. It's usually a pretty good spot for them to sit and hang out. There's actually 2 of them coming up behind this dead tree. There's another log. There's 2 of them sitting on it. One little one just jumped off. And you see there's still a medium-sized one there. Now you'll also notice there's a pretty big rock bar there in front of us. So this is about 1 kilometre long. This is what keeps the saltwater crocs out. So salties, they are capable of walking across land, but they're pretty heavy animals. and they don't really want to have to exert too much energy unless they really have to. So it does do a pretty good job at keeping them out. If they do happen to get in here though, you will notice there's a crocodile trap over there on the left. So that's put there to catch salties, and they leave it there through the dry season just as a precaution. They're pretty simple things. They're just a cage that has a piece of bait hanging in the back. The croc will go inside the cage, bite the bait, that pulls a rope which then pulls a pin out of the door and drops the door behind them. And once they've caught the saltwater croc, they'll take it up to Darwin and put it into a crocodile farm. They usually get put into breeding programs and things. If they catch a freshwater croc in there, they'll just open up the gate and let it swim out. Every now and then they will get a couple of cheeky freshies around that figure out they can go inside, get a free feed and get let back out. So the rangers get a bit sick of that after a while, and they'll eventually relocate them further downstream. Now, the biggest saltwater croc that we've caught here in the last 10 years was 3.9 metres long, and that wasn't not this wet season, just gone, the one before. You'll notice another boat there at the boat room. That's our dinner cruise boat being set up at the moment. It's a pretty nice thing to do. So you do a normal 2-gorge cruise like what we've just done, but instead of coming back on this boat, you hop onto that one. They've got a chef on board, have a few drinks, watch the sunset over the river, and float around until about 8 o'clock at night. As you can see, we are back where we started, so we're at the end of the tour. Just before you go though, I'll just quickly teach you what the jargon's saying instead of saying goodbye. It's a little bit less final. And it's ball, which is spelled B-O-H, B-O-H. It means until next time, or until we meet again. So thanks for coming out this afternoon. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your time up here in the NT, and ball. See you later.
Warum haben die dann die Pfeile gemacht und lassen dann direkt frei? Hier ist für die
Alright, there we go guys, ball.